All right, do we think we're ready to get started? I can keep admitting people as they come in, but I did start the recording. Mr. Tater, you're muted.
Okay, if you think we're good, I can get us kicked off. So good evening, parents. Thank you for joining us. Welcome to our Curriculum Night 2021 for third and fourth grade. If we would really appreciate if you have questions, we have the chat feature open. You can post them in there, and we'll try to address them as we go along, or if we have time at the end, we can also do that. As Ms. Gustafson mentioned, we are recording this right now, so that it will be sent out in the Sauganash Weekly newsletter. So, in case you miss something and you don't have to frantically, write down notes as we're going along. This will be available later on, probably this weekend. So I am Mr. Tater. I am the third and fourth grade science teacher.
I'll go ahead. I'm Miss Gustafson. I'm the third grade reading teacher.
I'm Miss D'Amico. I'm the third grade math teacher.
I'm Miss McKenna, the fourth grade math teacher.
I'm Miss Owen. I'm the third and fourth grade social studies and writing teacher.
I am Mrs. Calvert. I teach fourth grade reading.
Hi, I am Terry Court, and I am technology.
Hi, I'm Katie Murphy, and I am the diverse learner teacher for the third and fourth grade team.
We also have a few who are not at our meeting right now. We have Miss Ocampo and Mrs. Ciccone, who are on our team, as well as Miss Ihana, who is our EL teacher in the building, along with Miss Krzidlo, who is another of our diverse learner teachers as well. Now I know this is kind of crazy to look at, and even we get a little cross-eyed trying to look at this ourselves, but this is the master schedule for the third and fourth grade. Just to give you an idea now, before we proceed, just to kind of give you an idea of a typical day of a third or fourth grader. We start off the day at 8 o'clock with our specials. So the third grade this quarter have Spanish, technology, and gym. And the fourth grade have STEM, art, and PE. And then on a quarterly basis, we'll flip-flop so that next quarter, the fourth grade will have Spanish, technology, and PE, whereas the third grade will have STEM, art, and PE. And then we, the teachers, will be traveling to see the students throughout the day. So after their specials, they will have a class from 9 to 10:30. So as I look at this list, Miss D'Amico's class 115 would have math, followed by, and this is on Monday, and then followed by from 10:30 to 12 would be their second class. And that would be, again, let's go with Miss D'Amico's class. They would have Miss Gustafson from 10:30 to 12. And then we would have lunch and recess. The third grade has recess first, then lunch. And the fourth grade has lunch first, followed by recess. When they return from lunch and recess, they have one more academic class, and Miss D'Amico's class would end the day with Miss Owen. And then, or I should say, their academic class. And then from, there's a typo on that. It should be from 2:30 to 3. We have homeroom, and then each of us will provide SEL, our social emotional learning, to our homerooms. You might hear the kids refer to it as second step, but we do that with our homerooms in the afternoon from 2:30 to 3. And then, we pack up and dismiss from our homerooms. This is a little bit of a breakdown of how the specials work. And again, it's a little bit kind of crazy to follow. But if we go along, I'll just use Miss D'Amico's as an example again. So if we look across the top, Miss D'Amico's class has technology on Monday, or I should say during the 1st, 4th, 7th, and 10th week of the quarter. They have technology first, or on Mondays. They have technology again on Tuesday. Then Wednesday will be their gym day, followed by another tech and another tech. The reasoning behind this was the specials teachers really liked seeing the children more than once in a week, but in order to fulfill, state requirements, they had to still have, gym minutes during the week. So there will be a rotation. So they will always have gym at least once a week. But then one of, the other specials, they will have, there could be multiples of that during the week. So there will be a week where they have predominantly art and gym, or there would be a week of predominantly having technology or any of the others. 3rd grade, like I said at the outset, they have Spanish this quarter, and then 4th grade will have that next quarter. These are our specials teachers. So we have Miss Askovich back again for STEM. Miss Kelly is our art teacher. Mr. Zimbalan, hope I said that right, is our 3rd grade gym teacher. Mr. Lopez is the 4th grade gym teacher. And then we've been introduced to Miss Court, and then we have another Mr. Lopez, who is our Spanish teacher as well. He is new to our school as of this year. Now we've been living under these conditions for now like a year and a half, but just a few reminders of just some COVID protocols. First off, we've been noticing a few kids most days are coming to school without a mask. And we do have disposable masks that we can provide them, but really kind of a good thing to get in the habit of is making sure they, along with like lunch boxes and backpacks and whatnot, making sure they have a mask. Sometimes even the kid, some children will have like a spare mask so that when they come back from lunch and recess, they'll be like, oh, you know what, can I change that out? Because even though they can have a mask break during lunch and recess, sometimes they get a little bit sweaty, or it's in their pocket at lunch or at recess and it falls out. So they have that opportunity to change them out. At recess, we know it's tough, but the students do need to remain in their homeroom pods. We have noticed a little bit of time when they're as much as they want to see their friends, that might be in another pod where, under the guidelines that we have to kind of keep the students podded up in their homeroom pod. Masks, like I just said, can come up or can come off while they're at recess, while they're at lunch. If they're taking it, if they have water bottles and they take a drink of water during class, they can always pull it down and take a swig of water. And then just kind of, sometimes we've already had a few instances of this happening, but when a student comes to school, if they're not feeling good, at home, we really encourage you to, keep the kids home. But if they come to school and they express to us, or one of the other teachers that, they're not feeling well, we have guidelines that we have to follow where we have to notify the care room. The student packs up their belongings, goes to the care room, and then the remainder of class is removed from the class so that we can have a quick cleaning. Now that process has gotten a little bit faster. For those of you who were in the building before, it was a little bit of a lengthier process, but now it's a little bit of a quick turnaround, but it is still a little bit of a, kind of disjointed. And I know sometimes it gets a little freaky for the kids, oh, we had to leave the room. But that's the guideline. And if a student leaves under those conditions, they do have to have a negative COVID test before they can return to the building. I think we're on the next slide. Oh, and one more thing before we get to technology. Speaking of emergencies and emergency forms, there was a whole slew of paperwork that went home first day of school with emergency forms and whatnot. Lots of families returned them really quickly, but we still have a few stragglers. So if you still have those forms, ASAP is, really would be great. I think Miss Calvert is on with technology.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Tater. So technology, we have Chromebooks that are provided to each student from CPS. We are extremely lucky to have Miss Court because she's been helping all of our 3rd and 4th graders get signed into their Chromebooks, into their email, making sure that everything's working correctly. So I think by week 2, we're almost like up and running. Everybody's good to go on their Chromebook. So if you have any issues, make sure you let us know so that we can take care of that right away. A little bit different this year with the Chromebooks. They're going to go home every single day. So the kids should get into the routine of bringing their Chromebook home every day, charging it at home so that when they bring it to school the next morning, it's fully charged and ready to go. It's really important that that becomes a routine for them at home because I think we have like 1 or 2 emergency chargers in our room if need be, but the expectation is that it comes to school fully charged and they're ready to learn with their Chromebook. They need to bring it home every night. That in the instance that we would have to go remote because of quarantine, they would have what they needed to learn remotely and they wouldn't have to come to school to get any supplies. So just a new routine this year that you might have to get used to is bringing it home every night, charging it, and then bringing it back to school every day. 3rd and 4th grade reading. During reading class, we will be having regular practice with complex text and academic vocabulary. We're going to build knowledge through content-rich literature, nonfiction, and informational text. We will complete reading responses that are grounded in text evidence. This is a big change when the kids come to 3rd and 4th grade. Text evidence and being able to support their answer through finding evidence in the text. It's a really challenging skill, but it's something that we work on not just in reading. They work on it in every class. So that might be something that you hear us say a lot, but it's one of our big skills that we work on in 3rd and 4th grade. I have to say we're so happy to be back in person with the kids because now we can, have these one-on-one reading conferences with them again. We can do small groups, and we're just really excited to be able to work with the kids in that way again. For reading class, we have a few different books that we use. We use WorthyWise, Ready Common Core, which we just call RCC, IXL, Scholastic News, and Storyworks. And you might be noticing that the WorthyWise book started to go home this week. We do have WorthyWise homework every week. So you should be seeing that come home pretty much every night. And you'll see that in their assignment notebook too, that they'll have their WorthyWise homework written down.
So Miss Calvert and I, work both on third and fourth grade reading together. While she does teach fourth grade, she did teach third grade prior. So we kind of have this similar structure in both of our classrooms. So like Ms. Calvert said, for reading, the homework for reading for this year will consist mostly of Wordly Wise, and it will be on a consistent schedule. This week was a little different because we were not in school on Monday, but starting around weeks 2 and 3 of the Wordly Wise, students really get used to that routine of having A and B on Mondays, C and D on Tuesdays, half of E on Wednesday and half of E on Thursday, and then the quiz on Friday. So that will be majority of the homework for third grade reading will be Wordly Wise. As you can see the schedule down below, again, like we said, this week was a little different, but there will be some other assignments when they have to do maybe IXL or some reading at home and things like that, but the majority of it will be Wordly Wise.
Okay, so hi again, I'm Marissa Owen, the third and fourth grade writing and social studies teacher. So for the third graders this quarter, it will rotate each quarter. But for the third graders, I'm seeing them on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And then the fourth graders I'm seeing on Tuesday and Thursday. And for writing, during writing, students will use the grammar usage and mechanics workbook. It was called GUM last year. We can still call it GUM, but we will be using that to practice grammar concepts. Students will be guided through thorough writing instruction that is based off of the Lucy Calkins Units of Study method. They will draft opinion, informational, narrative, and persuasive essays in third grade, and then in fourth grade, they are going to draft narrative, opinion, and informational essays. One thing that we're really going to be focusing on this year is organizing our writing ideas, planning, revising, and editing with peers. And that collaboration piece is going to be really critical. Students will also be pulling evidence and data from different texts to support their ideas as well. And then for the social studies piece, social studies instruction will supplement the writing instruction. So they're going to kind of go hand in hand. As of right now, I'm going to be doing like half social studies, half writing for the class period. And the instruction for social studies will be based off of the Just Add Water, Making the City of Chicago, that was written by Mrs. Kresmer, who retired. And then the third grade units of study are geography, Chicago history, growth of Chicago history, historic events in Chicago, immigration and culture. And then the fourth grade units of study will be civics, Chicago history, with a focus on railroads, labor unions, and immigration. And then American history, talking about the Constitution, Bill of Rights, and the branches of our government.
Okay, so once again, I'm Mr. Tater. So third graders, I will see the third grade friends twice a week for science. And the science curriculum is aligned with the Next Generation Science Standards, NGSS. We're using the Amplify curriculum, and we took a lab safety quiz today, which very excited the kids passed, which is very good. So that means we can move forward. And our first unit of study that we just, as I told the kids, we just dipped our toe in the water today. What is balancing forces? We'll spend about a quarter working on balancing forces, and then we'll follow that with inheritance and traits, and environments and survival will be the third quarter. And inheritance and traits and environments and survival kind of, dovetail into one another, so it's quite nice. And then we should end the year with weather and climate. The fourth grade, which I'm happy to be able to work with them for a second year now, and get to see them all in person again, which is so great, is going to have class on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and also using the Amplify curriculum. And we are beginning the energy conversions unit, which is quite fun. I was able to tell the one of the groups that looks like next week we have an outdoor lab we get to work on. So weather permitting, we should be able to get outside to try some pretty interesting things out, which is then followed by vision and light, where they are learning about how how light helps us to see, not just, you know, light and dark, but, you know, the actual features of the eye, and how that works. We follow that with Earth's features, where they're taking on the job of a paleontologist, and they're looking at rock formations, and then we'll end the year with waves, energy, and information. Science, just as a short aside when it comes to homework in science, we will probably have a very small amount of homework in science, because there's a lot of things that we'll be doing in class. And your students might even have a chance to, you know, start some of these assignments and finish them before they even get home, toward, you know, if we have a few minutes toward the end of the day. Or, you know, there might be the occasional, we started something and then they just have to finish something at home. But whenever there is an assignment that we're going to be doing, we will write it. We just got the assignment notebooks this week. So I will take time to make sure that they write it down in their assignment notebook. And as I was telling the third graders today, who I just saw, you know, the nice thing about the homework for science is that they usually have 2 days to do it, because I won't see them in consecutive days in a row. So the third graders will get their first assignment on Tuesday, and they were kind of like, oh, wow, we get to turn this in on Thursday. I'm like, yeah, exactly. And I do try to, you know, coordinate with the other teachers to make sure that if I'm giving something on a day, or if I'm giving a test or a quiz, that it's not, you know, always falling at the same time as theirs. So we're all pretty good about, you know, talking about that. There is that occasional time every once in a while where, like, the stars align and we get everything all at the same time. But for the most part, we're trying to, you know, take that into consideration. And we're all appreciating the fact that we're still under these pandemic conditions. And, you know, for some students, this is the first time they've been back in the building in over a year and a half. So we're trying to ease the kids back in to these, you know, these circumstances, you know, and we have these classes that are 90 minutes, which we do incorporate breaks in there so that it's not 90 minutes solid of just like, okay, sit down and let's get to work. We're trying to be cognizant of that throughout the day.
Hi, I'm Mary McKenna, a fourth grade homeroom, fourth grade math teacher. Just to piggyback on what Mr. Tater said, especially in these times, we're going to be super patient. So we've been taking some time this week to work on a snapshot on IXL to just kind of see where everybody's at. I also gave a paper and pencil pretest. So again, not graded, just we went through it. We're going to, Miss D'Amico and I both set up our classes very similar. So we now, having the extended time, will be able to have workshops and do small group instruction and even one-on-one conferencing as we kind of work through these first weeks. We'll be patient, and it may be a little slow moving in the beginning, but just to be cognizant of what everybody went through this past year and a half. So our math book is the Envision Math series. Each Friday, our students will have fact fluency quizzes. I still do them in fourth grade. I might give a pop quiz tomorrow on zeros and ones, so we'll see. After each math topic, students will be assessed on the material that they learned. Last year, we had to do it all through the program, through the computer, or we made our own. I'm super excited to see the actual process of how they get the answer, to be able to have it on paper and pencil, you know, have it in front of them. They can expect to be working independently on fact fluency. And in addition, IXL, in years past, I know IXL was an assignment, and certain lessons would be assigned for homework. We're not there yet. We're going to use it during the class. I think we might do it Tuesdays and Thursdays, or Ms. D'Amico and I are working through that to pick a couple of days that they'll have time at the end after the lesson is taught. In addition, each week they'll have daily math problems. So this week I just gave one sheet that had 4 days. And if it wasn't finished by Thursday, it's due tomorrow. If it wasn't finished throughout the week during class, I did tell some of the students to bring it home. But every day they had a little time to work on it. It was 4 problems a day. Throughout the quarter, in addition to the daily math packets, I give 2. So I started out slow and just gave them 1 this week. But eventually, as the weeks progress, they'll probably have 2 different DMPs. In addition, we'll throw in a little bit of enrichment throughout the topic we're learning on. It might be through Google Slides or something, just to supplement the actual textbook. And we're going to try to keep that homework, limited. We'll give them some time.
Yeah. And I'm Miss D'Amico. I teach third grade math. So like Miss McKenna said, I work really closely with her. We kind of base our classes off the same thing. So we know that this year is a hard year, especially coming off of the COVID year. But coming into third grade, the students should be fluent in addition and subtraction facts up to 12. So the first couple of weeks, we do our fact fluency on addition and subtraction. And then we will quickly move into multiplication facts. We will start with 1 fact a week, and then we'll work into kind of like mixing the facts up. So it's not all just 1s and 2s, but it kind of 1 through 12. So mid-year, the students should have their multiplication and division facts mastered up until the number 12. And then this just really helps them not only with the repetition of it all, but really understanding the Common Core concepts that we're going through. Multiplication and division is so big in math from third grade on that it is so important that they know these facts. And then fourth graders, they should be fluent in both addition and subtraction facts and multiplication and division facts. So like Ms. McKenna said, they'll start with their facts again, and then they'll start kind of going a little bit faster than us because they've spent all last year mastering their fact fluencies. And then communication. So email is always the best way to get a hold of us. If you're not sure who to contact, please contact your homeroom teacher, and then we can forward you to the right person. Like if you aren't sure of who to ask about a science question or social studies question, we can always direct you to the right person. So when in doubt, just kind of email the homeroom teacher, and we can help you get in touch with the correct person.
And then hopefully some of you have been able to receive the newsletters that I've been sending on behalf of the 3rd and 4th grade team. 3rd grade parents, you received a form that looked like the one on the right that said, please scan and fill out the parent contact form. Many of you have, and I really appreciate it. Those 4th grade parents, if you can take a moment to just scan this and you can fill it out, it just gives us a little bit of information about the best email address in order to be added to the newsletter. Any information about your student or students we need to know. So we will be sending out another newsletter tomorrow as well with this recording, information about next week's specials and PE uniforms. So we are also working on a website to kind of mainline a lot of this information. We will let you know in an email and a newsletter when that is active and up and running. But until then, we will continue sending weekly newsletters to kind of keep you in the loop about what's going on in the 3rd and 4th grade classrooms, as well as what's going on at Sauganash. So if you could just take a moment, scan the QR code and fill out the form, that would be great. So at this time, if anyone has any questions, we really appreciate you logging on today. If you do have any questions, feel free to just type them in the chat.
Hey, actually, it's Christina to Sony. Can you guys hear me okay? Okay. Sorry, I'm driving, but quick question. Just add water. Are we going to have, are the kids going to have the books, or is this something where they're going to have download and print? Just curious, because last year it wasn't available yet.
So great question. The kids are not going to have copies of the book. I'm just going to be supplementing the writing instruction using some of the ideas from the Just Add Water book, but the kids will not need it for the instruction. I will give them everything they need. Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, one more question. Sorry. If you can't hear me, I apologize. So are they having Spanish for third and fourth grade? Is that in the rotation in one of the quarters or
Yeah.
not? Okay.
Yes. So Spanish for fourth grade will be in the second quarter and the fourth
it.
quarter.
Okay.
And I'm also seeing a question about in the chat. It says last year all homework and tests announcements were on Google Classroom and parents could check. We are going to still use Google Classroom right now, just kind of getting the kids back into the swing of things. We've been relying mostly on just like them in the classroom. You know, we spent a year and a half with our noses to these screens. We've been trying to, you know, ease them back into like a less digital world for a little bit, but we will be supplementing and posting things on Google Classrooms moving forward.
And I just wanted to add, Mr. Tater, as far as homework and test announcements, the best place to look for that is the assignment notebook. So that's another routine that the kids are definitely practicing getting back into since they haven't done it for a while. And we actually, our assignment notebooks were they were on back order this year. So we just got them yesterday, I think. So if you look in your child's assignment notebook, it should be going home every single day, and you should see all of their homework and all of the test announcements in there. That's the best place to look for assignments. Another question, curious as to how student desks are arranged in the classroom. So all of our classrooms are pretty much the same, except Mr. Tater has tables, but it's the same idea. We just actually had a tape measure out, and we were measuring, making sure that every student is 3 feet apart. So they're in little tiny pods, and we made sure that all of their chairs are 3 feet apart from each other.
Mrs. Feely, I see your hand is up. You can unmute.
Another question. Sorry. Will there be standardized testing anymore? I know that the MAP and NWA is going away. I know that they're doing you guys are doing diagnostics from an IXL perspective, but is that something that is coming up, or we're just waiting to see? Do you have any updates there?
So CPS is not doing NWEA anymore. They got rid of that. We do have, I cannot think of the name of it right now. Can another teacher help me?
Star 360, I believe, Ms. Court.
Thank you.
Is it the IAR?
No, well, there's the IAR, which is the Illinois Assessment of Reading, and that is going, at this point, right now, it's on the CPS calendar to be administered later in the year. Mr. Kennedy's here. Oh, okay, I'll keep going then. It's Star 360, and it is it's a new platform for us. So we are still at this point waiting for further guidance from CPS. The NWEA, the contract was not renewed. It was a natural break. So they're moving forward. So I can't answer that question with a definitive answer right at this moment, but it appears.
Sorry, Ms. Court.
That's okay. Please.
I could get my camera and microphone to work.
Okay.
But you are exactly right. So IAR is still the Illinois Assessment of Readiness. It's still the assessment for the state of Illinois. So CPS, it sounds like we'll be adopting that as their new metric for schools. And then the Star 360 is the new assessment in place of NWA. It's I would not really call it an assessment similar to NWA. It's more of a progress tool. It's kind of more like a diagnostic, and then they're assessed 3 times a year. So similar schedule to the NWA, but not as robust. The NWA was, 50 some questions for math, 40 questions for reading. This is a little bit more smaller than that. So it's a smaller sample size, and it just gives the teachers, feedback in the different areas of reading and math. So yeah, STAR 360 is the new adopted assessment for CPS, and then the state will continue to do the IR.
I see a question. Will there be assessment for reading levels? So I actually am not familiar with the new test, the STAR test. So I'm not sure if that will give us reading levels, but Ms. Gustafson and I will be doing our own reading tests in the classroom where we monitor fluency and comprehension. So we'll do our own assessments with the kids to understand better their reading levels.
And I know you'll be using the IXL snapshot also as another tool to help you, assess those reading levels. So, utilizing as many different tools as possible.
The reading levels from the IXL snapshot, those will be available. The parents can see those, and we can make sure that you have access to those. And then, of course, any assessments we do in the classroom would be going home in the Friday folder, so you'd see those as well.
We will be sending information about the STAR 360. Mrs. Munns and I just did the training this past week. The teachers will do their training next week during their prep. So, like I said, there hasn't been a ton of information on the STAR 360 just because we kind of just did it from an last week. So that will be coming out, I would say, probably next Friday's newsletter. Not tomorrow, but a week from Friday.
All right. Well, if there are no further, yes. So I see a thing about the computers. So the Chromebooks, we mentioned that earlier, but the Chromebooks, they are being required to be carried to and from school, in case we ever have to do like a shutdown of a pod and we have to do remote learning. That is a requirement. Additionally, when everything kind of hit last year, every kid had Chromebooks, but then throughout the course of this, Chromebooks had to be switched out. So that became an issue of like different types of chargers. So we don't have the capability. It's not like now, like before where we could just put the Chromebooks in a cart. There might be, half of the class might have one type of charger. Another half might be have another type of charger. So at this point we are, it's a school-wide thing where the Chromebooks do go home every day. And for the most part, I believe it's going to be the Chromebooks and, only a few other items. It's not like last year where they had to take everything home with them every day. They do have their lockers as well to store things. In my class, since we have tables and a few desks, I have seat sacks that are on the back of their chairs where they can store a good portion of their supplies. So, it's not as much going home with them on a daily basis. Any further questions? Well, if we've don't have any further questions, we'll wrap this up. Thank you everyone for coming out tonight. If something pops in your head after we close things out, feel free to email us. We can always, respond back to you with any kind of clarifications that you need. We appreciate everyone coming out or logging in tonight. I'm so used to saying coming out tonight with us being back in the school. But we really appreciate everyone logging in tonight. Really have been excited to see the kids. It's been great to see them. They've been real, you can tell they're just excited to see their friends again, be back in the building. So it's really been, as as much work as it is, that does help kind of boost our spirits seeing your kids every day. So we really appreciate it, and we also appreciate all the support you give us throughout the school year. So thank you again for coming out tonight, and we'll see your kids in the morning.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.